Have you ever wondered what it would be like to watch a haunted house ghost movie from the point of view from the spirit? Well, this movie is exactly that. Focusing on a family that moved into a new home, the house was already inhabited by a spirit that didn't want to harm them but wanted to warn them about a deadly event that was on the horizon. Shot entirely in this style of point of view, from a stylistic viewpoint, it was an interesting approach, but honestly, I don't know if it was the best move for the movie to make. So, what did the ending truly mean, and what did the ghost actually want? Well, let's dive into the movie and break down all that there was to take away from it. Here is the ending explained and a review of Presence. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. Who was the ghost and what did it want? The big mystery in this movie was who was the ghost? Well, it turned out that it was Chloe's brother, Tyler, that treated her poorly throughout the entirety of the runtime. Tyler's spirit haunted that house because he was there to prevent Chloe from being killed by Ryan, the friend that he initially introduced to her when he brought him round to the newly moved in home. Nobody knew that the ghost was Tyler until Rebecca, Chloe and Tyler's mother, looked in the 100-year-old mirror that was in the living room in the final shot of the movie, and she saw his reflection looking at her, making her realize that Tyler was the ghost that was there and he was in the home so he could prevent Chloe from being killed, making that love that she had for her son even stronger. During this movie, we were led down the pathway of thinking that it was Nadia, the close friend of Chloe and victim of Ryan, that was in the house looking out for her good friend. However, it was once we found out from the psychic that visited the home that spirits can inhabit the world from different time periods, and they may not even truly know why they're there, which could lead them to be confused as to who they even are. It then planted the idea in our mind that this ghost might be from the future. This initially made us believe that it could well have been Chloe, and it could have been her own ghost that was looking out for herself due to what was on the horizon for her. But that wasn't the case at all. When the psychic visited again, we saw her mention that a window was vital to what was going to happen. This again made me think of the window that was on Chloe's bed because she had a hanging stained glass window that was at the center of all of the scenes in her room. But it was actually the one that was in her room that overlooked the driveway that proved to be of importance. Ryan was introduced to Chloe by Tyler, and Ryan obviously turned out to be the sadistic killer that thrived on taking power away from his victims, always offering them control and allowing them to make their own decisions whilst luring them into a false sense of security, and then getting pleasure in taking it away moments before they died. Tyler was put to sleep by Ryan when he visited the home, which caused him to go unconscious, and the ghost could only look on as it happened, knowing that his own death was on the horizon, if at that point it even knew that it was himself. The ghost wasn't able to impact Ryan when he was putting the substance in Chloe's drink and his drink, even though it was watching on, which leads me to think that events can't be changed once they're locked into the timeline. Tyler was always destined to die that night because his ghost was there. So whilst he was able to stop the substance being put in Chloe's drink earlier on in the movie when he caused the orange juice to get knocked over, that was allowed to happen because it didn't have consequences that would prevent him from dying. Whereas him preventing Chloe from being put to sleep in that moment would have altered the timeline and he might not have died that night. With the ghost needing to go down to Tyler to get him to wake up, we saw Tyler run upstairs and grab a hold of Ryan and push him out the window, which caused the both of them to fall and die. As I said earlier, at that point it's insinuated that we're supposed to believe that it was Tyler that was the ghost that was in the house long before they got there. This is because the ghost knew that it had a job to do in protecting its sister in the living. The final thing that we saw in the movie was the point of view of the ghost looking at the house and heading up towards the sky. One would have to interpret that as Tyler going towards the pearly gates and being released from the burden of being trapped on Earth and haunting the house. The family were moving out, most likely due to the trauma that they witnessed and endured there. So the ghost no longer had a purpose in being associated with the house. It did its job in protecting its sister and Tyler could now rest. My review of the movie. I'm actually quite torn on this movie. I'd say for the most part I was a little bored during it because even though the movie only had a runtime of around 1 hour and 25 minutes, the plot felt like it was just a bit choppy and slow moving. The constant cuts to black felt like the scenes were just chopping around constantly, and I found myself not feeling as immersed as I feel I should have been. That kind of style reminded me of the approach that Paranormal Activity took when that movie first came out, but instead of hidden cameras in the house that were cutting to black, it was the ghost in this one. It felt similar in its pacing and style. I'd say that I found the point of view from the spirit interesting. I just didn't truly feel the impact that it wanted me to feel, and I wasn't necessarily impressed by the creative approach. Whilst it was original, I don't think it's going to shoot forward a new style of horror movie where we're seeing the viewpoint of the spirit taking center stage. In terms of the performances, I thought they were okay. I think something that gets compromised when you film a TV series or movie from a single point of view and not different ones is that you never truly get to see the characters up close, which ultimately means that you lose the emotion that they convey, and in turn, you don't truly feel like you get to know the characters. Something that's vital when it comes to TV series and movies. So realistically, when Chris was feeling guilty about hiding things in his marriage, I didn't care. And when Chloe was mourning her friend and feeling bullied by her brother, I just found it hard to connect to, because we never really saw the characters up close and got to read their facial expressions. When it came to the twist, I did think that was okay. I didn't expect it to be the brother, and I thought it was going to be the sister. Plus, I also thought it was interesting that Ryan was this serial killer that was behind the two friends that Chloe knew getting killed. I didn't expect that to be the case, so the reveal was unexpected, but I wouldn't really say it was impactful. I suppose the main reason why I liked the twist was because we saw the brother being terrible to his sister throughout the entirety of the movie, but when she needed him most, at the point where she was on the cusp of dying, he pulled through and saved her, and it was his ghost that enabled that to happen. Looking back, when knowing that the ghost was Chloe's brother, it's kinda strange that it stayed in the room in the wardrobe watching whilst Chloe and Ryan were getting at it. It's very strange. I'm just maybe putting it down to the fact that he didn't know when the actual attempted killing would take place, so he was keeping a watchful eye. Whilst this movie positions itself as a horror, it really isn't one. I'd say it's more thought-provoking, with elements of horror in there and thriller too. You're constantly guessing who the ghost actually is and what it wants with the family, and I wouldn't say there's a single jump scare that's involved in it whatsoever. So if you're looking to be scared, I don't think this one's for you. I did feel like there were some ridiculous moments that were in this movie though. For example, when the ghost moved Chloe's schoolwork and tidied up her room a little bit, she let out a massive scream. This to me was something that didn't need to happen. A family member could have literally entered the room and moved her books. I wouldn't be too concerned if my books moved if I knew that there were people in the house, so I thought that was a bit silly and just not needed. They were clutching at straws with that. I'd say that I've seen this movie getting a bit of a mixed response, and I feel it's definitely going to be one that divides opinions. Personally, I didn't think it was that great. Whilst it was stylistically interesting, I think it went for style over substance, and in turn, a movie that felt like it started as a few notes on a piece of paper ended up remaining that way when it came to the weight of the story. The plot was thin, the performances were hard to attach to, and I left feeling just a tad disappointed, to be honest. I'd say go and give this movie a watch if it piques your interest, as it's always good to form your own opinions too. So, there you have it, a review of Presence and the ending explained. If you want to see more videos on your favourite TV series and movies being broken down, then click on the card in the top corner, there'll be a playlist there. Or alternatively, you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. What did you think of this movie? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. As always, thanks for tuning into the video and I'll see you in the next one.